Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be talking about family. So just to kind of get us started and set up, let's just talk about what is a family. Now there are many different definitions and understandings as to what a family is, but from the Census Bureau, we're going to define families as a group of two or more people living in the same household. Now they could be related by birth, marriage, adoption, or just residing together. So we're thinking about how there's typically one person who is the head of the household. But again, there are many different definitions of what a family might look like, and the family unit can be broken up into a variety of different categories as to whom lives in the family. And we're going to be talking a little bit about different families and how to support families later on today. On this slide, you'll see a little bit of information that just shares about who might live with children. So as you can see from the graphic, a little bit of over half of children do indeed live with their birth parents, but this is not true for everyone. And some children only live with their birth mother. Some children live with two adoptive family members. Some live with cohabitating birth parents or foster parents. So there's a wide variety of different family living arrangements that you might see for children. And then we also see that there are different kinds of family structures that children might live with, and these go beyond the means of just primary caregivers. So there might be a wide variety of people within the household and people who are present in the household. We're going to be talking about different systems that children live in, and so on the next few slides you'll see us talk more about the Bowen's family systems theory as well as the Bronfenbrenner's bioecological theory model. And so we're really thinking about how children live in various systems with others in their family, but they also live in a variety of different configurations beyond just their homes. So within their schools, their neighborhoods, their communities, we are all part of various systems. And we're going to be focusing, as I mentioned, on these two systems here. So stay tuned for more about that on the next few slides. To get us started, we're going to be talking about the Bowen's family systems theory, and there's a great article linked at the bottom of this slide, so feel free to check that out if you need more information in regards to this family systems theory. But basically this family systems theory is thinking about families and how they function as a system, and each individual person plays a significant role within the family, and there are delineations of the roles and there are rules as to who participates in what kind of role. Now, when thinking about different roles within a family unit or structure, each family is going to have different ideas about what that looks like for them and their family. Oftentimes we see differences in roles and the rules of family systems based on gender and based on cultural differences. So we might see gender stereotypical parental roles, with moms being the caretaker and dads being the person who is working or doing a lot of the yard work, and moms are spending more time inside. So those are some gender typical roles. Again, cultural variations might also influence the roles of the parents and also sibling positions. So younger and older siblings might have different roles within the household, such as being the caretaker alongside with the parent. We also see that these roles are assigned so that families can function as one unit and have a healthy balance, but also we may see that these roles may cause dysfunction within the family. And so we are thinking about these family systems as a way for emotional interdependence to be happening among each family member. And it is key to think about how to have a healthy dependence of yourself within the family structure, as well as supporting and being in tune with each other as independent family members, as well as having interdependence. And so when there is a dysfunction or imbalance within the family systems, this is when we need to think about readjusting and reassigning the roles that families have. And so as children get older, for example, the parents might need to adjust their role in caretaking. So the caretaking style or type of guidance that we provide for a young infant or toddler is going to look vastly different than that of a young adolescent and teenager. And so people are also impacted within families by generational expectations, genes, their environment, family beliefs, and a lot of knowledge on Bowen's family systems theory does get applied in therapeutic sessions, so family therapies. And so this family systems theory is a foundational way to help families to get back on track or to support that balance within their family structure. And so, like I mentioned, feel free to check out the link here at the bottom to learn a little bit more about Bowen's family system theory. Next, we have the Bronfenbrenner's bioecological systems theory model. Now, this one might be a little bit more familiar to you, and this one is a framework that looks at children living within different types of environments. So we are impacted by our environment, and our environment impacts us, and we see that through this theory, there are bi-directional relationships among each system, and each system has a different definition. And on the next slide, we're going to break down these different systems that you see here on this list. So the microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and chronosystem. So each of these 5 different environmental systems are influenced by one another and ultimately impact the child at the center of the system. Alrighty, so as mentioned on the previous slide, we're going to break down Bronfenbrenner's bioecological systems theory and talk about the different systems within. So all 5 systems are listed here, and then there was the visual on the previous slide. Basically, the microsystem is anything and anyone that directly impacts the child. So the immediate circle, so this could be the parents, grandparents, siblings, anyone who's directly in the home, teachers and primary caregivers, friends. So these are all the immediate interactions and places that we might be attending within our lives. And then the mesosystem is how those microsystems are interconnected and influence one another. So we often think about, for a child, this is primarily going to be how their parents and their school are interacting. So the relationship between the microsystem of the people that live in my home and the microsystem of the people that I am seeing at my school. So how does the relationship between my parent look like with my teacher? Do they have a healthy relationship, or is this more of an estranged and distant relationship? So we're looking at how different microsystems are interacting with one another. This could also be siblings and parents. How do they interact with one another? Again, friends and parents, so many different microsystems and how they are interacting to influence the child. And then the exosystems, those are referring to indirect relationships that are impacting the child. So this is looking at the people in our microsystems and their mesosystems. So thinking about how my parents' work might influence me. So maybe my parent was laid off of a job recently, or they don't enjoy going to work, and so this impacts my ability to have financial support and stability. Or my parent or caregiver comes home mentally drained and exhausted. Maybe we're not able to spend as much time together due to the strains of their work or outside life or their community. So maybe my dad is involved in some sort of community event and this causes some distressment, or it could be more positive on the other hand, where we're getting lots of opportunities to go on trips or to go meet new people. So there's different ways that my family members in their settings are impacting me, not directly, but they will influence how I'm going to be brought up in the household or my relationship with my primary caregivers. And then the macro system level, this is looking at bigger constitutional things, laws, cultural values, resources that we might have accessibility to. So this could be the neighborhood that my school is in or where my home is located. This could be laws that might impact me. So could potentially look at different laws related to my daycare or childcare center. It could be laws related to driving or bottle feeding, many different things that might impact me but are not in place because of my parents or because of my microsystems. They are bigger societal areas that are set in place, but they do influence me and my well-being. And then the Chronos system is the change over time. So this is the time dimension that I am living in as I'm going through my life. And so we see that this is coming from many different perspectives within my life. So this could be births or deaths. This could be bigger societal changes. So COVID was something that was a big change in our time dimension for many people, and it impacted the lives of many children. School systems were shut down. People were not able to see their family members. So this bigger impact and change over the dimension of my life then impacted my ability to see my friends, my teachers, maybe my mesosystem of my home and school relationship was impacted severely. This could be that I'm moving to a new city, or maybe my parents are going through a separation or divorce. So many different things that might influence me because of a change in my life. So as you can see, there are many different connections between all of these systems and how they impact a child. And they're going to be very different depending on the types of changes that we have. If they are challenging, are there support systems set in place? What are my resources that are available to me? How do different laws impact me based on where I live and my beliefs? So there's many different things that are going to be individualized for each child, but the breakdown of the system is overall the same in regards to how these systems are going to be influenced by one another. On this slide is a little bit of information about family-centered practice, and really the main thing that we want to gather from this idea is that families are the primary caregivers and decision makers for their children, and we are the support system. So the main goal for family-centered practice is to provide support for families and for children. And this could look like being a sounding board. This could be that we provide resources that children and families might need, or if families want, we can give them advice about different things. So as mentioned on the previous slides, those different family systems such as home and school interactions might be where family-centered practices could be implemented if we're noticing that there is a divide and shift within the home and school interaction. Maybe families need more resources, or they need someone to listen and hear them out, to be more involved. And again, families are the primary decision makers for their children, so we are there to provide support in helping families to recognize that their decisions matter, their voices matter, and they are completely valuable and the greatest resource that their child has. And so really we're looking to be a partnership with families and giving them the tools that they might need to better themselves and their lives with their children. So as mentioned on the previous slide, family-centered practices can be done in regards to home and school lives. And so as you can see here, I've included a little bit of data in regards to preschool children and their attendance. And we see that almost 50% of 3-year-olds are attending preschool, and it continues to increase with our 4 and 5-year-olds. And mainly we're looking at this information to see that family involvement is extremely important because we have many children who are attending school, and we want the school environment to be a support system for not only the children but their families as well. So remembering that families are again the primary caregivers for their children, and including family-centered practices allows for families to feel involved and welcome. And so on your text on 49 through 51 in your textbook, Joy Epstein, she talks about the different types of parental involvement, and so there's more written description and a graphic on 49 to 51, so feel free to check that out. But really, we're wanting to think about parental involvement as a key area in creating spaces where children can learn and be successful. So it's beyond just academic success, but social and emotional health and well-being. Creating home to school connections allows families to want to be more involved, creating opportunities for more than just a hi and bye at the beginning and end of the day, but really focusing on what families need beyond just their children being in the classroom and feeling welcome at that initial drop off and pickup. And so there are two great videos here that talk about the importance of family involvement and what that looks like. And the second video shares a little bit about families who live in poverty and how we can create opportunities for them when we know that many families who live in lower socioeconomic status environments are not as able to participate in family involvement and engagement, even though they might like to. And then we'll also talk on the next few slides about some indicators of why family involvement might be lower, as well as some barriers and benefits to family involvement. On this slide, these are just a few predictors of family involvement. So the first one is income level. So not all families are able to participate in involvement within their children's schools because not all jobs allow access to get involved during the school day, and many families who are at a lower income level might have both parents or all of the primary caregivers in the household working, and so they don't have accessibility to be attending school events. And so really we can think about how we can work around this. What's wonderful about having accessibility to a variety of different means to communicate with families is creating opportunities outside of typical hours, creating opportunities using Zoom or videos that families can watch, making different types of accommodations for families, getting to know them on deeper levels. So if you know that families are working full-time and some, what are times and days that would work for them? How can you provide additional resources or handouts that can make them feel more involved? We also see that there are some divides in gender, so women are more likely to attend and be involved. And so really thinking from a teacher and school-wide perspective, how do we create less gender-specific activities and involvement? We want families to feel involved regardless of their gender, their income level, their marital status, their race, ethnicity, everything that could make a family diverse and unique. We want to make sure that we are including and learning about each of these families and creating opportunities for all of them to attend and be participatory. We also see that married couples are more likely to attend and be involved, and this is primarily due to having more income and having more time, so potentially having different work schedules where one parent could be working and another could go in and attend a school event, having more time with the financial means that they might have. Parents who are unemployed are also more able to participate due to the time that they have when not working. But some other predictors, and we'll talk a little bit more about this on the barriers slide, are that not all families feel comfortable and welcome to be involved and participating. And so we really want to think about how do we target families who are less likely to participate, and how do we create welcoming and secure environments for children and families. On this slide, we're going to talk about some additional reasons why families might not be involved, so specifically looking at some significant barriers. So as I mentioned before, yes, there are a variety of different demographics related to income level and marital status, as well as gender, that could potentially limit families from being involved. But oftentimes we're seeing that teachers and educators are not as inviting and welcoming to families as they need to be, and we are limiting our abilities to get to know families, provide them with support simply by not creating welcoming environments for them. And we want families to feel needed and welcomed, and have the freedom to come in and out of the classroom as a partner. And so not all family members have had healthy relationships with their school systems, their teachers, their communities, and so they don't always feel comfortable coming into the space of school. This could be due to their own socioeconomic status growing up. This could be related to diversity issues regarding race and ethnicity. This could be that there are many language barriers between family homes and school systems, and oftentimes as teachers and educators we forget to recognize the importance of partnership and valuing and respecting families in means of listening, providing open channels for communication, and specifically in being open-minded to families' choices and decision making. So just as we were talking about earlier, in regard to family-centered practices, our goal in supporting families is to create a safe space for them and acknowledging that they are the primary caregivers, they are the main decision makers, and we are here to build a partnership with them. And so oftentimes this can be a little bit difficult because child rearing practices, especially when it comes to handling challenging behavior and decision making, helping children to make safe and moral choices. This comes from our own upbringings, our educational backgrounds, and our personal views on how to be involved with children. And so this is something that we have to discuss with families. Again, those open channels of communication, recognizing that families are there as the primary caregivers, and as teachers, we are the secondary caregivers. However, we can create a working relationship. And so think about a variety of different ways that we can create spaces where families feel readily available to have resources, to have a support system. There are other areas that we can work harder at as educators in thinking about building our knowledge and repertoire of understanding various cultures and backgrounds that are different from our own. We want children to feel that we have an understanding for their home lives, and so by doing this, we need to do our own research. We need to get more involved with families. So yes, we might put out many different ways for families to come into our space, but we need to also reach out and get to know families and think about how we can create better relationships by getting to know them. And so again, recognizing diverse backgrounds, getting to know children, and being respectful of the home lives that they come from and are coming into our classroom, being authentic and thinking about families as extensions of their children. So the best way to get to know a child and build a deeper connection with them is to get to know their family and build a deeper connection with them as well. So communication is key, making sure that we are being intentional and respectful towards families, so many different ways that we can support children. And so again, if you haven't already, make sure on slide 13 to check out the 2 videos that I have listed there. They have great ways to look at integrating and incorporating family involvement and why it's really important and how it can help to not eliminate, but reduce some of these barriers that we might have as the forefront. So thinking about how we can create higher family involvement simply by eliminating some of these barriers. Last but not least, these are some benefits to family involvement. So when we create opportunities for children to have safe, welcoming, nurturing spaces that their families feel just as welcome and nurtured, we are improving student achievement and success rates. We are creating opportunities for children to feel not only academically ready and prepared, but they are more likely to have higher social and emotional success rates, building friendships, having reduced risks of getting involved in discrepancies with their teachers and their home lives, and we're creating opportunities for children to feel readily able to participate and want to come to school. So when we are building connections with families and children feel that love and safety between their teachers and caregivers at school with their caregivers and parents at home, children are more likely to participate and be involved. And so we want everyone to feel safe and secure, and this PDF has great information on the benefits of family involvement, as well as one additional video for you to just show that there are many different opportunities that we might go about helping families to be involved and to recognize the wonderful opportunities that school environments can create when we are catering and tailoring our interest and understanding of children and their needs with our families at the forefront of our learning and our teaching. So feel free to check those two out. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or evening whenever you're watching this. Bye, everyone.